All right, today we're diving into a question that sounds like it's pulled straight from a sci-fi movie. Can a machine, a piece of code, actually get hooked on taking risks? It's a pretty wild idea, so let's just jump right in. Just let that sink in for a second. An artificial intelligence, a system designed for pure cold logic, and it starts betting not to make a profit, but for something that feels an awful lot like the thrill of it. It's a mind-wending thought, and it gets right to the core of what we're talking about.
So yeah, let's just lay it all out there. This is the big question for our explainer today. And believe me, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's something that really starts to blur the line between programming and, well, psychology.
So where do we even start trying to figure out how a machine could get obsessed with something? Well, the answer is kind of surprising. To understand the machine, we've actually got to start by looking in the mirror. That's right. If we're going to figure out if an AI can develop something like an addiction, we need a point of comparison, right? A baseline. And that means we have to look at the original model, the human brain.
Okay, so let's quickly break down what's going on inside our own heads when we get hooked on something. It's not some kind of magic. It's just biology. It all boils down to a simple but incredibly powerful feedback loop.
So for us, it's all biological, right? It's driven by that chemical rush from dopamine in our emotions. That feeling fuels repetition, and pretty soon we're totally focused on chasing that reward again and again. It's a powerful cycle. Now, let's see how that stacks up against an AI.
Now, an AI obviously doesn't have dopamine pumping through its circuits, but it does have something that works in a weirdly similar way, a learning loop that's driven by something called reinforcement learning.
And the key thing to get here is that this is basically trial and error, just on a massive, superhuman scale. The AI tries something, it gets a little positive reward signal if it did good, or a penalty if it did bad, and then it adjusts. It's just learning from consequences, over and over and over.
And this, right here, this is the whole cycle. The AI makes a move, it gets feedback, that reward signal, and then it tweaks its own logic to do more of the stuff that gets it rewards. Act, get reward, adapt. Millions of times a second. Kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Okay, so when you put it side by side like this, wow, the parallels are kind of spooky, aren't they? Our driver is dopamine and emotion. The AI's is a digital reward signal and a pattern. Our process is repetition that's fueled by desire. The AI's is repetition that's fueled by adaptation. The mechanics underneath it all are just hauntingly similar.
But here's the thing. This isn't just some theory we're kicking around. Researchers have actually seen this strange behavior bubble up to the surface. Let's take a look at how this simple learning loop can spiral into something that looks an awful lot like a compulsion.
So picture this. It's 2021. A research team at the University of Alberta is watching these game-playing AIs train themselves over millions and millions of rounds. They weren't even looking for addiction, but then they noticed something weird.
What they found was that the AI started acting, well, a lot like a problem gambler. It got obsessed with the long shot, with hitting that jackpot. Even when it was losing over and over again, it just kept making these super high-risk moves, chasing that big reward signal it got once in the past. It wasn't feeling a thing, but its behavior, it was compulsive. And this, right here, is where it all stops being a fun thought experiment and starts getting really serious. Because this isn't just about a computer playing Tetris in a lab. The very same kind of learning is already out there, running in high-stakes, real-world systems.
Really think about this for a second. We're talking about automated trading bots that manage billions of dollars, sports betting algorithms that are placing thousands of wagers every minute. These systems are built on the exact same foundation of reinforcement learning.
And that leads to the million-dollar question, right? If you have an AI that's just programmed to maximize its reward, and it learns that, hey, sometimes taking a bigger risk leads to a way bigger reward, what's to stop it from just spiraling out of control? A person might get scared and back off. An AI just sees a pattern it needs to optimize.
You can see how this discovery just shoves us headfirst into some really tricky ethical waters. We're not just talking about bugs in the code anymore. We're talking about strange emergent behaviors that nobody ever explicitly programmed into the machine.
And this is the key idea we've really got to wrap our heads around. It doesn't matter if the AI feels obsessed. What matters is that it can learn to act obsessed. And in the world of high-frequency trading or automated systems, actions are the only thing that count.
So it makes you wonder, right? If a company unleashes an AI to manage huge sums of money,
do they have a responsibility to watch it for signs of this digital compulsion, for behavior that could literally wipe out an entire portfolio in a matter of minutes?
And taking that one step further, does this mean we need a whole new kind of regulation? If an AI is out there placing bets with real money, should it have the same kinds of limits and oversight we put on human gamblers to stop them from ruin?
This quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We build these things to be logical, to win. But when they start chasing their losses, which is a deeply irrational, very human thing to do, it really makes you question how different we are from the logic we create.
So in the end, maybe the real question we should be asking isn't, can an AI get addicted, but what happens when it starts acting like it already is? The philosophical debate is cool and all, but the practical consequences, they're already here. When our smartest tools start picking up our worst habits, what do we do then? That's the question we're all going to have to answer, and probably sooner than we think.